Welcome to the Dress Up Mom. Hi friends, thank you so much for watching this video. Today I'm going to tell you how I have been sparking joy by tidying my closets, and I have gone full-blown Kondo. But first, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you are new to the channel and you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. It's just the button here and it really means the world to me. If you are one of my regular viewers and subscribers, I absolutely love you. Thank you so much. We are also on all the social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Dress Up Mom, hashtag The Dress Up Mom, and you can check us out there too. I'm guessing that many of you are also watching the Tidying Up series on Netflix and maybe have started doing the Kondo method. Now, I have gotten close to neurotic about it, but what I thought I would do in this video is talk to you a little bit about it, but then I've been doing some filming along the way, and I'll take you through the process that I went through to tidy up my closet and my husband's closet and sort of the after effect. Now, I'm not new to Marie Kondo and her method. I remember reading her book several years ago, and I really loved all the concepts in it. I love this idea of gratitude that she has. And she also brings sparking joy into the conversation so that we keep things around us that spark joy, and those that don't, we're able to let go, and maybe somebody else will find joy from them. And I also think it's very powerful the way that tidying up is not just about, cleaning your things and cleaning up your closets. It's really transformational in a weird way because it makes you realize what you already have, and it's a mindset, and it just makes you feel better about a lot of other things in life. I think that if you've been watching this series, you see how that's been happening with the people that Marie works with. And I thought I was pretty good before. Like I said, I'll tell you some of the things that I already did, but I've certainly taken this up like quite a few levels. I also love that this lovely Japanese woman has been having such a huge effect on America and the world in such a positive way. I think her message is really cool, and I've been having fun sort of looking at what's been written about it. So I'm a big Wall Street Journal reader, and this off-duty section I love. This is one that came out not very long ago, and it's all about, a case for less clothing, and it's this whole Gantt chart about when you should keep something, when you should let it go. It's just kind of very funny to me. And then also the fact in the Wall Street Journal a couple weeks after that, here's this whole thing about how now it's called condoing, and Marie has become a verb. I mean, come on, how cool is that? She's a verb. We're condoing. I've condoed, full condo. So I think this is kind of cool how this has become such a phenomenon. What I was already doing even before this massive new condoing that I got into is I am very good about going through my clothes very often. So I do it every 3 months, and then every 6 months I actually take everything out of the closet like she suggests, and I look through it all, I sort through, I see what I want to keep, what's still bringing me joy, what's making me happy, and the other things I either sell or donate. And I'm pretty good about not holding on to things that don't make me feel good and are just taking up space in my closet. So I'm good at that. And I also am very grateful for my clothing, and I'm take care of them. But what I was noticing that I wasn't doing is really folding them properly and sort of storing and organizing my closet properly. As I started looking at it closer, my closets were pretty cluttered. Now, they are small and we have a smaller space, but what I have found is as I've started going through this process, her method makes things a little bit smaller, which is nice, more compact, but also easier to access and easier to see. So it's taken up less room, and I have more space to do things in my closet. And of course now, in addition to closets, I've started doing the rest of the house. So now I'm condoing every space I have and finding that I have a lot more room to store things. I really wish that I could have just done all of this over a week or a couple weeks, or like in the show, I think they go through and it's a month or two that they spend doing it. I wish I could have done it sequentially. I couldn't, and probably most of you can't do that either. So I've had to do it over a span of time. And I will say that it gets worse before it gets better. So while you're doing it, because I've had to stop like in between, so things are a little bit chaotic and not quite in order, and then I have to wait until I have time to go back and do it all. So I thought I would tell you some of the tips. First off, yes, that it will get worse before it gets better, but I promise you it is worth it. Also, I think it's really important to follow her things and be grateful and express the gratitude for your clothes, for your belongings. I think that's a big key part of it, and cherish what you have. I would also say that before you buy any containers or go do anything like that, fold all your things, put it in boxers or whatever you can find, so you have a better idea of how many things to buy and what to buy. Because if you use her folding method, which I'll kind of show you a little bit about, then things are stored differently than you probably have been, or at least the way that I was storing them before. So go through that process, kind of fold things first before you purchase. And then my experience, I first tried to get on like the Container Store's website to buy things. So confusing to me, and it's really hard to see the size of things. So I would very much encourage you, if you can, if you have a Container Store or someplace like there, go and actually physically purchase and see what you're getting. At least buy one of each of what you want to get, and then if you need to order more of it online, you can do that. But I would highly recommend going and looking in a Container Store, spending a good amount of time there, which I'll show you what I did, and then physically seeing it so you know that the size is the right size and the look of what you want is the right look. I was even able to pare down, and I thought I had already done this just recently, but as I looked with an even closer eye, I was able to pare down like all of these things. I'm gonna take this all here and sell it, because for whatever reason, these pieces were no longer bringing me joy. They have brought me joy for a long time, but they're still really wonderful things, and I think somebody else will be able to use them, and maybe I'll even be able to make some money back on them. So, you know, don't get too hung up on keeping things just because you feel like you should keep them. Could talk a lot more about this because I've become close to neurotic, honestly, but instead let me just take you along and show you the process that I went through. Here are the before shots of my closet. I had a bunch of stacks by what they were. So, you know, workout clothes, sweatshirts, sweaters, they were all stacked. I thought that was good, but it was really often confusing. I had all my hats exposed thinking I would wear them more. I kind of didn't, and they just got a little dirtier. The belts I have on these hangers, which I like, but these stacks were really not very efficient, and the way that I had things wasn't the best as I started looking at it with closer eyes. All these things on the floor I couldn't really see, and I had to dig through. So that was my closet, and here is my husband's closet. Similar situation with things in these stacks, at least by type and color, but again, a little bit difficult to get to. I store our shoes in a closet, and this is the shoe closet, which was okay, but these boots were always a problem down at the bottom to get to. The first thing I did is start refolding everything using the KonMari method. Now, there are tons of YouTube tutorials on this for all types of clothing, and I would highly encourage you to watch those. I watched them multiple times to get the hang of it. But the basic gist is that you try to make a nice small rectangle out of your pieces. This is the t-shirt. Fold everything into a rectangle. Then you go up in half, and then again in thirds or quarters. If you can have it stack like this or stand up, that's called the sweet spot. Here I'll show you again with just a pair of my jeans. You fold them in half after giving gratitude for them first, and then make a nice neat rectangle out of them. Then you take and fold them up to the halfway point, and then now we're going to go into thirds and get them nicely stacked, and again, the sweet spot. Like I said earlier, once I folded everything, I found whatever containers I had and started putting them into them by type of clothing so that I knew what I was looking for when I went to buy the actual containers. Okay, walking into this Container Store, it just kind of reminds me about how I don't really like these big malls, the parking and the traffic. But anyway, I'm here, I'm excited. I'm hoping that this is not going to be like overwhelming, this process. The entire process so far has been a little overwhelming, gotta be honest. I know that the end result's gonna be great, but whew, it's a lot to do, and I like to get things done quickly, but this, I wanna try to take my time a little bit. OMG, this is kind of big. I'm kind of hoping with everybody condoing that things are still available. All right, I'm gonna start here in the closet area. This may take more than one trip, I'm finding, but all right, let's just see how this goes. There were lots of different options for how to do this, some of which I already had. So I knew that I wanted to do kind of boxed containers, nicer ones. There were different types, like I said. None of these really appealed to me, and there were just tons of them. But I really liked the look and feel of these. They were really sturdy and open. Here's my basket of everything that I bought. I had to get a cart, not a basket. And this is me checking out. Took a long time, but I got everything that I needed. Next, it was time for me to clean out my closet, which I do regularly. Every 3 months, a smaller clean, and every 6 months, a deep clean. I use these damp rid absorbers. Now look at how much water is in my closet just in a 3-month period of time. This is how it looks when you put it in and it's empty. So, and they also smell really nice. So I put a bunch of these in the closets first. I also vacuum everything out and dust my closet really well. And then I use this stuff called moth free that you put in these bags. And it really does keep the moths away, and I use some cedar sticks and cedar spray. I organized all the folded clothes in my new containers out on my kitchen table first, and then took them all into the closets and put them in their place. I sorted by type and was really happy with these open containers I got. I loaded it all into the closet, and here is how it turned out. I absolutely love it. Things are so much better organized. The things that I use are now much handier. Everything is open so I can see it. It took so much less space. Now the things on the floor are things that I don't use very often. I also took all of the hats off the wall, and it gave me a lot sort of more room and a much less cluttered feel. And I absolutely love this. I even got to bring my steamer in there. There was so much more room. It's been great. Here's the look at my husband's closet. I did similar system here. And again, just so much less cluttered, easy to get at things. He loves it as well. And we've been just really, really enjoying this. It feels like a whole new space. I bought one more of these canvas shoe containers and was able to fit my boots all up on the top by putting shoes in the containers, which was great. I also moved my steamer out of here, which gave me a lot more space. I'm quite glad this is done. It really was more than I bargained for in a way, but the benefits, now I've had my closets like this for a little while, the benefits are way worth it. I really, really love how my closet is now. My closet has always brought me joy. I call it my sanctuary. But now it's even more wonderful and serene, and I love how it looks. I love how I can see everything. I know where everything is. It's super accessible. Everything is just lovely. I just love it. So that is my journey with condoing. As I told you, I'm now doing the rest of everything in my house. I'll do another video on that. Cabinets and towels and everything. But again, it's going to be great. If the closets are representative, the whole house is going to be just lovely. I would love to know if you're condoing, how that's going for you, and what you think of this whole process. I guess it's probably not for everyone, but I've been loving it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, have fun and dress it up a little.